want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Good day, Mad Men Mafia.
I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right, folks. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Real
so what's up today, man?
Real conversations. JBK, so you just turned 50 years old yesterday.
Why you gotta be putting me on blast like that? Like, I thought
Dude, man, I was 50 years old 2 years ago, man. So I don't feel sorry for you, man.
I see how it is. Now it's like you want me to feel the pain.
Welcome to the club, man. Welcome to the club.
Thank you very much.
We were talking about some of the things that, when you turn 50, things that just kind of pop into your mind and things you think about and all that kind of stuff. And we were talking about that yesterday. You ever think about moving to another country and just starting over in life?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I grew up Army brat, so we lived in Europe half the time, and so I had that experience, and so that was some of the best times of my life. And yeah, there's been many times. I mean, I have friends overseas. I got a friend who has a condo in Bangkok that's like, I got an extra room. Come anytime you want. I'm like, oh, don't tempt me. I will show up. You're not gonna get rid of me. But yeah, I have definitely thought of it, especially when things get rough and the way things are going with the economy and the government and all that. It's like, maybe try something else.
Yeah, I mean, I think back when I was in the military and that kind of stuff too. I kind of had, now granted, even though I was young, I was still married with a kid, so I didn't really have the option to just kind of up and bounce. But I sometimes think, like, if I didn't have things like kids and now grandkids tie me down, I wonder if I'd be so bold enough to go do that. So it's a good thing we know people.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you probably want to ask somebody about it.
When you have questions like this, it'd be great to meet and know somebody with a story. As a matter of fact, what if his name was Story?
Right? I mean, that sounds too good to be true. Wait a minute, hang on a second. Who's this?
Say what?
Story? What?
And I met this dude, man. We met at Gary Barnes boot camp a few weeks ago, and just having a conversation with my brother Ron. Man, more we just got to talking about story and life. I was like, come on, man. Like, this guy's like, he's one step short of being a international man of mystery like James Bond or something like nobody's got this kind of story, man. And his name is Story, man. So first of all, without further ado, introducing to some, reintroducing to others, our man, Mr. Ron Story. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Enjoying the 75-degree weather here in Medellin, Colombia.
Nice.
Come on, dude. You ain't got to be like that, man. It's getting cold up here, you know what it is, man.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be worth it if I didn't brag about it, right? Like that's one of the only advantages is to talk about how good it is to live in 75 degrees all year round, whether it's 4th of July or New Year's. My weather doesn't change.
Nice. So you're like San Diego, South America. That's nice.
So getting to that point, first of all, where are you from? You don't sound like you from Medellin, Colombia. Where are you from?
Estoy de Colombia. No, I'm from East St. Louis. I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois, man. At one point, ranked the most dangerous city in America. That's That's it. Yeah,
man.
I started traveling in 2014, man. So
you started traveling in 2014, and did you just like run out of plane tickets or something? How'd you end up? Jump to the good part, man. How'd you end up in Medellin, Colombia?
So I started off in Honduras. My game plan was if I was going to leave, I was going to go to the place I was most scared of. So then everything else would just be easier. So I went to San Pedro Sula, Honduras, which was the most dangerous place on earth outside of a war zone back in 2014. It had the highest per capita murder rate and everything. I lasted there about 3 weeks before I was like, yeah, okay, I'm good. This is way more than what I expected. So I hopped on a bus, traveled through Nicaragua, ended up living in Costa Rica for almost a year. And so that started my journey of living outside of the U.S. since 2014. I haven't lived there since.
Well, what precipitated you? I mean, granted, I mean, you know, East St. Louis probably wasn't the greatest place on earth, especially being so dangerous. But like, what made you go, okay, well, screw this, I'm going to a more dangerous place? Like, what made you decide just to pack up and leave?
Well, I mean, America ain't always the safest place. I'm just saying, So, but I had a passport, had never used it. I had my passport for 8 years, had never moved anywhere. And then, the whole Mike Brown thing happened and Trayvon Martin and all this crap in the U.S. And I'm like, dude, I just want to live outside of the American politics, like someplace where I don't have to hear one side or the other. I got friends on both sides of the fence. They hate the cops. My best friends are cops. It's like all of this, everybody has an opinion and this selective outrage online. And I'm like, dude, can we just live outside of this? Is there a place where I can live outside of this noise box? And I left the country and nobody's talking about any of the stuff that's on CNN and Fox every day. And I think that's a masculine decision. As a man, we get to make the decisions that are in our best interest as men and for our families. And at the time I didn't have a family, but I knew I didn't want to raise a family in that type of.
Sounds like a good enough reason to me. What do you think, Kirk?
I'll tell you what, and it's funny you say all that because, of course, now with the government shutdown and all that kind of stuff, one side blaming the other side, that side blaming back, and so much, man. We just get into that, and you're right, man. It becomes almost an echo chamber of just chaos, man, and then it's kind of a trip to know that the rest of the world doesn't get bombarded with all this nonsense, man. The rest of the world just doesn't. So for you to just bounce like that, I mean, that's the fact that you say it is a masculine choice where we get to choose where we plant our roots and the life that we build and the life that created. And, and we're going to get to that point, but I mean, you even went so far as to, establishing not even just family roots, but career roots, company, international company, and just all that other kind of stuff from another country. And so, I mean, man, the fact that you say that's a masculine, almost just a masculine ability trait, whatever you want to use, man, that's I mean, those are powerful words.
Well, there's the old saying that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I just added an extra line to that, which says, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, but the smart people left a long time ago, right? So a lot of times we see it getting bad, but we just choose to stay in it because sometimes we're comfortable complaining. And all of us have friends on both sides of the political aisle, on different races, different cultures, all of these things, right? And if you're a respectable person, you have your own personal beliefs, but they shouldn't influence or be negative to the people that you love. And in the States nowadays, it's hard to do that because we got family members hating each other because of who they voted for. Who cares? This is still my mom. I don't have to agree with her. She's my mom. That politician doesn't know me, right? So from that perspective, I just chose not to opt into the game. I'm proud to be an American, and my being an American gives me the freedom to go live in about 90 other countries based on my passport with no visa requirement.
Wow.
Yeah. Might as well take advantage. I mean, and I like what you said too, the smart people left earlier because, yeah, we can all see that. And I think what has been going on and what feels like has been going on is the same divide and conquer tactic that's been going on since the last 150, 200 years. And now it's getting to the point where it's so ingrained and everybody's in their echo chambers because of social media and all of the divisive news, which is interesting because even, these companies, the news media companies, they know, because if you look at the Wall Street Journal in one state that's red and the Wall Street Journal in another state that's blue, they'll have different stories and they'll have different leanings. So like people keep getting fed the same poison and the same viewpoints, and they get more and more into this echo chamber, and it creates all this divisiveness between families and friends. And it used to be back, World War II, you'd have Democrats, Republicans living next door, and they'd be talking politics and religion, and it wasn't a big deal. They just accepted that people had different beliefs. But now it's like, you can't believe different than me. So I completely understand why you would be like, you know what, this is nuts, I'm out, my head's south, y'all come see me if you need to.
Well, I think that there's the red side, there's the blue side, but both of those guys see green, right? And I was talking to someone about a week ago, and they were just hell-bent on complaining about stuff. And I said, let me ask you something. If someone gave you $5 million to never vote again, would you take it? They were like, heck yeah. I said, well, just go make $5 million. Then this won't matter anymore. Right? Because if that's the case, whatever that number is, that'll take that you're willing to give up your vote for, go get that amount and then opt out.
Yeah.
So then you don't have to complain that I'm a victim because they're doing this to me because I have a job, or I'm a small business owner, or I have this, or I'm a woman, I'm a black person, I'm Latino. And dude, whatever that number is you would sell your vote for, you should be racing towards that number and buy it from yourself. Then just opt out of the system and you're okay. Because once you turn off the echo chamber, right? At the end of the day, we're all flesh and blood. We all have the same care for our families. We want the best for our kids. We want to be able to make a decent living with dignity. We don't want to be disrespected. None of that said Republican, Democrat, Trump, Biden. No, it's family. That's all that matters. I don't care what either one of you guys believe because it don't affect my beliefs, right? But that doesn't mean I can't come on here and have a very sensible conversation. And just if someone tries to push me down a certain path, just say, man, I don't know. You know how easy it is to lie to people and just say, I don't know? And it saves so many friendships. Oh, man, I don't even know.
Yeah,
because in reality, we don't know.
Well,
we
I
really
think that's
don't know.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most freeing statements. And I mean, sometimes we as men, because we're supposed to know it all and be self-sufficient and all that, we don't say, I don't know enough. And it's so freeing when somebody asks you something, instead of making up a story, to be like, I don't know. And then they go to bother somebody else. Like, you know how freeing that is.
Yeah. And when you decide to even opt out of all the arguments and opt out of all the debates that don't matter at the end of the day, and when you opt out of all that kind of stuff and just say, you know what, man, because to your point, we really don't know. We don't know who's pulling strings behind the scenes, and we really don't know what forces are at play really behind either one of the opinions or either one of the parties or either one of the whatever it is. And it's like, really, I personally almost wonder if it's the same people pulling. It's the same hand up the puppet, working one hand versus the left hand of the puppet. And so, I wonder about all that kind of stuff. And speaking of the puppet, and speaking of going to do that thing, we're gonna go and puppet ourselves into a break, man. How about that? Our first break. And like I said, man, it's so funny because I'm really looking forward to getting into kind of the life that you've established down there, man. I mean, and what you've done with your life down there. So we'll be right back. Madmen of Masculinity on KLDC. Boom. That's so funny, man. And of course it's kind of a trip because we didn't even,
Well, it's funny. That's something we should bring up in the next segment, is like how much probably more clear it is to see the manipulation from outside. Mm-hmm. Like you're in Colombia and you're looking at the states going, oh, I can see they pulling that string, and it's all the big bankers and it's this, that, with the other thing. But yeah, I think it's probably interesting to talk about that.
Just to be able to create that, create that life, man. Create like what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear, what you want to be and don't want to be. And
yeah, I think what that's called is FU money, is what you're talking about before. It's like, don't tell me what to do. FU, I got my money, I'm good, I'm out.
And it doesn't have to be $1 billion. right?
Right.
So I use the number that you would sell your vote for, because if you can't vote, you don't really care about the politics anymore.
Yeah. I hadn't
Right?
voted
Like,
in 20, 30 years just because I'm like, I can see it's right wing, left wing, it's all in the same bird. I'm tired of getting pooped on.
exactly. I mean, and I live in a country where I'm not allowed to vote, right? I have residency in Colombia, but I'm not a citizen, so I can't vote.
Yeah.
So I just adopt the same attitude that I had to accept here in Colombia for the States. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not there to participate.
Yeah. I think a lot of the manipulation is just to get you all stirred up about something you can't do nothing about anyway. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So you ready to come back?
Whenever you all are, man.
And
We're back.
Welcome back to the show, yo.
Madmen and Masculinity, KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile High City, on the interwebs, everywhere. World. Holla at your boys. We real easy to find. Real easy to find. Doing our
the Mr. 303s worldwide. Or is it 3? Yeah.
It's funny. We always say that during the breaks we have some some of the best conversation and stuff, and you can see all that stuff during the breaks on the video versions of all these on YouTube and Facebook and such. But we're just talking about man, the choice, or the freedom, the agency to just opt out. And opt out of what you don't want to be a part of, and go and opt into the things that you do want to be a part of, and that, like I said, just the agency to be able to do that. And Ron, I mean, man, I give you credit, man. You did that. I mean, you absolutely, you just stepped out of the circus. You went out of the tent and kind of did your own thing.
Well, I think we all, well, at least I know, I had this, everybody has a drunk uncle in my mind that you're not going to win the argument with. So you're better off just not arguing with him, because it's like, dude, I'm not going to win the argument. And what I'm going to end up doing anyway has no effect on him. When he goes home, he ain't going to be thinking about this conversation he had after he got done drinking his glass of gin. So why am I even fighting it? Right. And that's kind of the way that I look at it. It's like, I don't have to participate just because I was invited. Right. So, yeah, man, I think you all have that opportunity.
You went down there as a single man, but are you single now?
No, man, I got kids. I got a whole family now. So I got a 2-year-old and not 2-year-old, 3-year-old and an 8-year-old. They'll be 4 and 9 next month, a little girl and a little boy. We all live together here in the house, and in Medellin. They're in school, same thing. I mean, I'm doing the same soccer dad every Monday and Wednesday, going to dance recitals every Saturday. The only difference is in Spanish. It's football and ballet.
Hey, now, before we get too into this, I brought this up to you, and you actually clarified something that I did not. You clarified something that I had a misconception of. I brought up to you the term passport bro, and you kind of clarified that there's a difference. Can you break that down for a lot of guys?
Yeah. So
Jason wants to be a passport bro.
So, I mean, passport bros, depending on who you're talking to, means something different. For those of us who live here, we're not considered passport bros. We're expats. I've been in Colombia since 2016. Passport bro is a term that came up during the pandemic, right? When everybody was at home, so they were making videos about the places they were traveling to that were still open, right? But those tourists usually can't stay. They usually can come in on a tourist visa. They usually don't have any long-term residence, so they bounce around. They come to Medellin for a month. They go to Dominican Republic. They go to Costa Rica. They go to Thailand. They go to Europe. They go to Mexico, but they're just bouncing around. Well, at 47, I can't be doing that with 2 kids. Like, that just don't work. Like, my kids need stability. They got friends. They need a decent lifestyle. And my girl ain't gonna let me live the passport bro lifestyle, because she expects some loyalty from me. So from that perspective, I think that there's the two different worlds, but I think that both of them are needed, right? I don't look down at the gentleman who can only stay temporarily, because I know that sometimes you need that mental break from the BS in the States. So I think understanding that by traveling to other countries, people treat you differently as a man. They want you to be masculine. Where in the States, sometimes it's called toxic masculinity anytime somebody who isn't a man disagrees with you. It's like, wait a minute. It ain't toxic masculinity when they break in the house. You hope I can fight at that time, right?
Right.
It ain't toxic masculinity when somebody does something to you, you need my defense. But all of a sudden, my ability to be masculine and to stand up for you is toxic when it's not in your best interest, right? So going outside of the States, you learn that is still valued, right? That was one of the big things. It was like, no, like it's still a value thing. Everybody isn't trying to compete for sameness. We don't even use the word equality. It's sameness. 3 guys are on this panel right now, right? We're not trying to be the same. We all have equal rights. We may have equal fingers and toes, but we're not trying to be the same. America, in my opinion, is about sameness. The 5'8" woman who's 23 wants to be the same as the 6'2" male who's 27, right? They're not the same. Should they have equal opportunity? Yes, but they're not the same. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest things we notice when we leave the States.
Yeah, I think it's something that, we'll even talk about that too, because you can shed light on it. But what guys experience overseas versus what they experience here. And of course, here, and it's something I wanted to talk to you about even during the break, is that how well you can see the divide and conquer tactics here in the States, whether it's politics or sex or family. There's all these different tactics that we're just used to now because we live in this echo chamber of, oh, this is this, and equality and sameness and, everybody's rights and all this stuff. But then that leads to a lack of polarity, which leads to a lack of sexual attraction, which leads to a lack of being able to, have regular relationships and community. And so you get passport bros who, to your point, almost, they were the smart ones. They're like, well, why am I going to stay here and fight this fight that I don't even want to be in? I'm just going to leave. And then they go somewhere else to find out that, oh, it's not the same as it is in the States. These women actually want me to be a man. And so I would prefer that. So I'm going that way. But I think the one thing I think most guys need to know is that not only is that the way it is overseas, but that there's this belief or this misconception in the States that every other country is a third world country. Oh, do you guys have electricity? You got running water over there in Colombia? You guys living in huts? They don't realize like how built up everything is and how modern everything is. So I would love for you to talk about that, because there might be some guys on here going, well, maybe I like this, maybe not passport bros, maybe even expat idea, but where am I going? Is it third world country? Like, can you break that down a little bit for people? Because I'm sure they think wrong. Well,
so let's define what third world means. Do you guys know what that means, Jason and Kirk? Do you know the origin of the word third world?
I know a third of the world lives like we do.
No, that's not how it came about. So the first world were America and its allies in the wars. The second world were the people we were fighting. The third world were countries that did not participate as in any of the world wars. So they were, Switzerland is a third world country, technically, because it never participated in the wars. So usually a lot of those countries, they were underdeveloped. They didn't have militaries that they could launch out. And Colombia's national army still protects the country. It's a protection, not a deployable, right? So the current president in the States changed it from the Department of Defense to the Department of War, which means that they're going proactively now versus defending. Most countries have a defense mechanism for their military. And that's what third world meant, right? That's the technical term for third world. Medellin is more modern than St. Louis.
Wow. Say it again, people didn't hear you.
Medellin is more modern than St. Louis.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So in Medellin right now, I can pick up my phone, go on an app called Rappi, 24 hours a day, order anything from the grocery store, and it is guaranteed delivered in under 10 minutes.
Say what?
It's called Turbo.
Under 10 minutes. Wow.
Under 10 minutes. Rapid Turbo. I'm like, who's driving around with these groceries in their car? Because I don't know how they get this to my house in 10 minutes all the time, right? So imagine having instant delivery in basically an hour for anything, whether it's a couch or tires for your car, delivered to your house from Amazon. That exists already in Medellin, right? If I forget I need a bag of ice, it's going to be here in 10 minutes. I ain't got to leave my house, and it's unlimited delivery for $5 a month.
What?
All I got to do is tip the driver, right? So I can go to a movie theater for $4 that is 4D, meaning that the seat moves when the guy in Star Wars moves. My seat does all of that. When it's cold, it blows cold air, and all. It's $4 IMAX.
Wow.
There are 23 malls in Medellin. They all have amusement parks. One called Viva Envigado has a roller coaster and a Ferris wheel on the roof. St. Louis, they got all the malls in St. Louis closed at 7 p.m. I'm not kidding.
Well, okay, that begs another question. So it's more advanced, you have better services, but what's the cost of living like?
Yeah. So cost of living, what type of lifestyle you want, right? So, okay. So I'll give you a great example. Before I had a family, I had a 2-level townhouse apartment that was 1 bedroom and an office, because it was a 2-bedroom, but we made one of them an office. I had a maid 2 days a week that took care of everything in my house. I had someone that cooked and did food prep 1 day a week, including all the utilities, fully furnished, including the staff, $1,200 a month.
Oh man.
In the safest neighborhood. In the safest neighborhood in Medellin.
See, now you're just making a case for all of us to pack up and leave. Where's my passport?
I'm just saying, man. I mean, right now I live in a different situation because I have kids, but I mean, I got 6 bedrooms, 7 bath, 6,000 square feet, 4 full-time employees at my house, for what it would cost to live in a 2-bedroom downtown Chicago.
Wow.
Okay.
And then, when of course, just because of history here in the U.S., when we hear cities in Colombia like Medellin and Cartagena, first thing we think about is what? We think about the cartels. We think about Pablo. We think about all that. I mean, is all of that Hollywood fiction, or is that something like it? Do y'all legit have guys on the back of motorcycles walking around gunning people down and all that kind of junk?
They got that in St. Louis. Type in whatever city you live in and put shot afterwards. Type in Chicago shot, Memphis shot, Baltimore shot, St. Louis shot, Las Vegas shot, and it'll bring up 3 people shot last night, 5 people killed, blah, blah, blah. Just type that into your own Google. You ain't got to leave so there's nobody doing drugs in the U.S.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's one of the misconceptions. That's one of the misconceptions. People think, oh, they just run it down here killing everybody, and it's all the cartels running things, and it's not true.
All the drugs in the U.S. come from CVS, right?
Right. Not
speaking of CVS,
they all come from CVS and Walgreens.
Yeah.
And
speaking of CVS, time for us to take that break so we can go get our prescription filled.
Right. Nice.
So we'll be right back. We're in Mad Men and Masculinity. This is KLDC. We'll see you in a minute.
So
we started going too far.
Oh no, I think it's all good. I think it's funny. One of the things that I have a great anecdote I would love to share when we come back on about, the cartels and how people see that stuff. Because I think it puts it in perspective. And usually when I mention one person's name, it kind of shocks people right back into holy crap. So we'll share that when you come back on.
I mean, there's something that I think a lot of people need to know is that what they've been taught in history and all these people that they think are the devil or whatever, A lot of times they're just trying to protect their people, their country, and whatnot, and it's completely different down there than what we get sold over here. So be interesting to hear some of that from you.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you about it because again, I live it.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. We're back.
Yes, we're back.
We are back, Madmen.
Get back from CBS, ready to go.
This is a great conversation, man. I mean, I wasn't expect. I mean, we never script anything, but man, I love this kind of talk. We were talking about just the differences and a lot of the misperceptions and all that kind of stuff. And you can watch an Amazon series or a series on Netflix, and all of a sudden you think you know what it's like living in another country. And one of the misperceptions, maybe probably of Colombia for sure, where Ron you live, is just the culture and the atmosphere and just danger and people and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think that Colombia has a marketing problem, right? So when you think of Netflix, Narcos was the thing that put Colombia on the map because it was this story about the different, drug cartels and things of that sort. But it's a period piece, which means that everything that happened was in a time period before now.
Yeah.
Right.
So we think that because we're watching it now, this is how it is right now. But it's not. Let me say something. There's a guy by the name of Bill Clinton, right? How long ago was it when Bill Clinton was president? Was that recently?
That was the 90s. That was 30-something years ago, 40 years ago?
Yeah, 1993 in January is when he was inaugurated. For everybody who's there at home watching this, Google, when did Pablo Escobar get killed? And you'll find out it's that same year.
Oh, wow.
Like Bill Clinton hadn't even been a president for a year. That's how long ago it's been. That was after Bill Clinton. There was George W. There was Obama. There was Biden. There was Trump. Long, that's a lot of presidents ago, guys. And we act like that is still going on today. You wouldn't drive a car from 1993. So why do you think if cars have been updated since 1993, why don't you think a city in a modern metropolitan place has been updated since 1993, right? Here's the thing. I get 140 channels of cable television, unlimited cell phone service on my cell phone at 5G speeds, and 500 megabit internet in my house for $24 a month. That's why they don't want you to think that.
Well, you talk about a marketing problem. Like, that's something that people need to be aware of. Like, we sold all this bill of goods that we're the freest and America is the best and this and that. And in some aspects that may be true, but they make it sound like everywhere else is poor and backwoods and don't have nothing. And you're living with more technology at cheaper prices, and you got better weather than most of us here in the States.
Well, 100%. And people will say, oh, well, people in Colombia are poor. So are people in Mississippi. So are people in Arkansas compared to the people that live in New York or in San Francisco. Like, I can't afford to live in San Francisco, right? Where those guys in the tech area live, where a 2-bedroom bungalow house is $4 million, I can't afford that, right? So does that mean that because I can afford to live in St. Louis and pay St. Louis prices that I'm poor? No. In the same way that the person who lives here, they're just paying relative to what the economy demands here. So when you come down, you ain't got to hide your iPhone because everybody got iPhones. Ain't nobody gonna pickpocket you for your phone. iPhones are normal. I mean, all the goofiness that we think, but there is danger though. Just like in any other city, there's some neighborhoods in St. Louis I don't go to. Just like there's some neighborhoods in every other country and city that I've lived in that I don't go to. There are certain behaviors in St. Louis that I don't participate in. There are certain behaviors in Medellin that could cost you your life. So before anybody says, but what about this? I've been drugged. I've been robbed. Let's just get that out there. I've been scopolamined. I've been through it all. All of the things that you say could happen to you in Medellin, I've lived through it, right? And it all could have been avoided right? It all could have been avoided. But
you
go ahead.
I was gonna say, you mentioned all of those things, man. You mentioned just culture, just the climate of where it is. I'm from DC, and for the past, I don't know how many weeks or months, you've had National Guard troops walking around DC. I mean, it's almost a city under siege as far as legit. I mean, now it's other cities too, Chicago and all this other kind of stuff. So, all of these things are relative, man. And, but when you do live inside the matrix, you do get an opinion of not only the way things are where we are, but also the way things are where somebody else is.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I would say. Go and see for yourself, right? Most of the people that are giving you the opinions about Thailand or South Africa or Colombia or Costa Rica or wherever, they've never been. They have never, I heard. Once you hear I heard, just stop listening. I heard. Just do your ears like this because they don't know, right? Mm-hmm. But I think over 750,000 Americans come to Colombia every year to visit. And whether they're going to the beaches in Cartagena or they're coming to Medellin and, we're 6,000 feet above sea level, I mean, there's the mountains. Colombia's a big place, 55 million people. I'm not on the tourism board, but I can almost tell you that everything that people told me was about Colombia primarily wasn't true. Now, do they have great weather? Yes. Great economics? Yes. Beautiful women? Best, in my opinion, most beautiful women on earth, right? They're in Colombia. But that's my own preference, right? Yep. So make a masculine decision, and go see for yourself. That way, you don't have to miss out on something that you may have been looking for because of someone else's opinion that has never gone to see for themselves either.
Well, that's one of the things that we kind of play in that role too, but we actually live in a world now where if you don't know and somebody says, well, I heard, and you don't believe them, or you want to do your own research, YouTube, there's like 10,000 expat channels, everybody from Bangkok to Pattaya in Thailand to, Colombia or Costa Rica. I mean, all these guys have these YouTube channels. You can hear from a guy that's actually there. You can do your own research. And to Ron's point, go visit yourself. Don't believe everybody. Like, make sure you do your research so you know the customs, because there are some customs that get you in big trouble, and that don't make sense in the U.S. to dumb Americans. Do your research, but go visit and find out for yourself, because there's so much on this planet. There's so many people that are amazing, and if you get stuck in your little bubble, you're never gonna know. But do your research and go visit. If you think, hey, that sounds like a cool place, I want to go visit. Go visit. Save your money, buy a ticket, go visit.
Here's a funny thing. I met Kirk in Denver. Mm-hmm. My flight from Denver back to St. Louis was $370 in basic class. My flight from St. Louis back to Medellin was $199.
What? Now you can be having us showing up on your doorstep with backpacks and flip-flops going, where are we going? What's happening? What's going on, Ron?
Dude's about to show up down there left and right, dude. I mean, I tell you what. Go ahead.
The airports don't have the TSA fees. So every time you take off and land in the US, half of your ticket is going to TSA fees. In Colombia, there aren't those TSA fees. So $199, and they gave me 2 meals. I got a meal on each leg. Yeah, you get. I got a hot meal, right? Yeah. So just keep that in mind, that it's probably cheaper. Your average weekend in Vegas or LA or Miami is probably a month in anywhere south of the U.S.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know. I got my friend who has her place in Bangkok, but she travels all the time. But she was telling me, once I turn 50, which I just did, I can get a retirement visa or something like that and be there forever if I want. And I'm like, and I've done all the research. I've looked at all the channels and watched all the guys, all the expats, and it looks like a good deal. I think I'll probably get tired of the humidity and the heat, but I mean, definitely someplace I'm heading to. I was planning on doing it for the birthday, but finances, because I live in one of the most expensive cities in America. But beyond that, that's one of the things we brought you on. We didn't know we were gonna go down this rabbit hole about Medellin and dumb Americans and travel, but we entitled this expat to guru to tech mogul. We just maybe talk a little bit about your business and what you do over there, because I know you don't just run around and hang out in the mountains all day and you flip flops, drinking sangria.
No, my family don't allow that. So I still got some anchors. Here's what I would say: just remember that wherever you go, you're not trapped. You can always buy a plane ticket back if you don't like it, which was my story with Honduras, right? But I have found that hiring in America, I'm an American, I love America, but hiring entry-level talent in America is very difficult because people want 7 figures right out of college, right? So what we found is that there's a trend that's happening. Older retirees in America are going back into the workforce to take entry-level jobs as a retiree. And companies are loving it because they get someone with the work ethic that's willing to work, even if it's part-time. They're going to be disciplined. They don't complain about going to the office. They're okay. They're not trying to be influencers online. The other alternative to that is to offshore. So we have 20 employees at SpeakerHub. They live in Colombia, Argentina, and Venezuela, right? They're all full-time. They're not VAs or anything like that. I don't allow people to call my people that. They're full-time employees of our company, and they're just as qualified, if not overqualified, but we can give them, it's a win-win. We get a lower cost on the employee, but they get a better lifestyle because we're willing to pay them more than what the local people probably can afford to pay them. So that's the win if you're considering it, especially if you work remotely. You can find high-level, highly skilled, appreciative, hardworking, clear English-speaking employees. So if you speak Spanish, that works, but you can find bilingual. I think 5 of my employees speak English. They're fluent in English, French, and Spanish. And they live in Argentina, Colombia, and Venezuela. And it's been great. So my first employee ever was a guy named Santiago out of Bogota. And that was in 2018. And so we bought 7 companies in the last 6 years, tech companies out of the US, but we build all the teams down here in South America because same time zone, but 30% of the cost of hiring inexperienced people in the States. We're hiring experienced people for 30% of the cost of inexperienced people in the States.
All right,
Wow.
Gen X, Gen Z, and millennials better pay attention.
You mentioned it super quick. You mentioned SpeakerHub. And so, man, I want to come right back in this last segment, man, and dig into what it is that you do. What's your organization about, and just open up the door to folks that may not be familiar yet. So we're gonna hit that on this last segment when we get back, man. We gotta make sure that folks hear from a tech mogul. We're gonna call you an international tech mogul, Ron Story. So we're gonna jump into that right after this break. We'll be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything, guys. I think that's pretty cool. Like the whole spectrum of the mystery of living out of the country. What is it like to really live there, and then how do you build a business?
I really want to get into SpeakerHub, man. I loved just the way you framed a lot of things during your talk at the boot camp.
Well, and you know us, we do a little speaking, so we're angling for a discount.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I gave away a discount to everybody that was at the conference.
Sure did.
I know, man.
He threw it out there to everybody. He's like, hey, get in.
Yeah. I was supposed to be there, and then I ended up not being able to do it, and I sold my ticket to Zach, and then I afterwards was like, man, I missed the wrong one.
Yeah, this one was good. This one was good. This was one of the better boot camps past 6-7 years that I've been doing.
Yeah. All right, let's come back to the last one.
Let's close it out here. Here we go. Yeah,
and we're back. It's your boys.
Madmen of Masculinity. I mean, this is a very masculine conversation in a completely different way than most of our conversations, actually. Just from perspective, man, we got somebody outside of the fishbowl, outside of the matrix, having, an American experience, being an American, but being able to give us perspective from somebody outside of the matrix looking in. You're not forced to take the blue pill or the red pill on a daily basis like we are in a lot of ways. And so having that perspective, Ron, has been tremendous. And so this last lap, man, this last segment, man, I really, really, really want to get into kind of what your platform is about, man, who you are and what you do. Like I said, man, we gonna call you an international tech mogul. I mean, you can put that on a placard on your desk all you want, but that's what we gonna do. That's how we gonna call you. What is SpeakerHub, man? I mean, share that with folks.
So I want to kind of add some context. I think most people think of entrepreneurship as I have to start something. And I spent the first half of my career trying to start things. The problem with that is that you got to solve a lot of problems to get something off the ground. And one of my mentors said, dude, quit starting things and just go buy something that somebody's tired of. So I bought my first company in 2018 from a guy out of Austin, Texas. It was a company called Lead Pilot. And we focused that on helping speakers to get booked for more speaking gigs and podcasts. 2 months into buying that company, I was introduced to the owner of SpeakerHub, which is the largest platform for speakers in the world, but it was based out of Belgium. And we were going right into the shutdown with the pandemic and everything. So public speaking wasn't a big priority to me buying another company. I didn't know if we were either going to be breathing in a year. So 3 years later, the guy reapproached me and was like, dude, you ready to buy this thing? And I was like, sure. Well, so I ended up owning the largest speakers bureau in the world. We work with 65,000 speakers. So far this year, we've booked over 7,000 meetings with event planners for speakers with positive messages to get on podcasts and speak at conferences. So I live in Colombia. I bought a company out of Belgium because that's where they're based. But we primarily sell to speakers in the United States with an employee base in South America. So, I mean, we had employees in 9 countries at one point, but we help speakers to get on more podcasts like this so that they can talk about their lives. We know that people buy personalities. So we know if I said, who started Apple? You can say Steve Jobs. Who's Tesla? Elon Musk. And who's Microsoft? There's a personality at the front of all of these companies. And they do business with the personality before they do business with the company most of the time. So going on podcasts like this to show your personality, to show your values and what you believe in is a very attractive way to build a company.
I like it. I think it's probably a smart way to do things. Instead of spending all that time trying to grow crops, just buy them already grown and sell them. Buy something that's already ready to go that somebody's tired of. I think that's a great idea because I know I've spent many years trying and failing to build something. So if anybody has a cheap company they want to sell, let me know. I'm ready.
Well, but you don't want to cheap. Let me clear that up. You don't want to cheap.
Okay, yeah.
Let me make
I meant
sure.
cheap as far as like it's going. That's how I can afford right now.
So here's what I will tell you. It is actually lower cost to buy a company than what it is to start a company. Because when you start a company, how much income do you have the first day?
None.
Zero.
What, most companies take like 4 or 5 years to make a profit?
Exactly. But when you buy a company, it has profits day one. And you're going to use those profits not only to pay off the loan, but to pay yourself. So the one mistake people make is they buy a company and then they change something. No, don't change nothing. It was already working before you got there, right? So here's the basic formula. For the traditional company, you could buy it for 2 to 3 times the profit. So if a company is doing $250,000 a year in profit, you probably could buy it for $750,000, right? Now, the monthly payment on that $750,000, depending on how long you spread it out, is probably going to be, let's say, $20,000 a month.
Okay.
Right? Well, no, let's see, $750,000. No, it's going to be lower than that. On 250, that monthly payment is going to be about $9,000 a month.
Oh,
right.
Well, that's
so
all?
I'm making $20,000 a month profit.
Mm-hmm.
I got to pay $9,000 to the bank to pay off my loan over the next 10 years. Right. That means I got $11,000 for myself from day one, not on day 50, not on day 800. Day one, I got $11,000 in profit coming in after everybody has been paid. So in reality, all I have to come up with is the down payment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it can be done, guys. I've done it 7 times in the last 6 years. And it's just easier than starting from scratch because they already have customers. They already have employees in the companies, right, that are running it.
Right.
Just don't touch it.
Yeah, I think, that's, you make a good point because I've been through, I know Kirk has too. We've been through that corporate merger thing where somebody comes in, they buy stuff, they start laying people off, start changing things, they come in and put their stamp on stuff. And it's like, why we were working just fine before you got here. Why you gotta be messing up their sauce?
Yeah, I mean,
so how can someone, let's say someone has a platform or they're building their own personal platform or personal brand, how would they use public speaking to advance that?
okay. So who's the best salesperson that you know in your company? 9 times out of 10 is not your website, right? Because if you, Kirk, can communicate to me what you do as an individual, you're not going to be able to write it on your website. So if I gave you a referral, you would talk to that person. You wouldn't say, go read my webpage. You would talk to them directly. So that's what public speaking is. It is Jason, you, Jason and Kirk, right now gave me a referral to your audience, right? And my responsibility is to talk to this audience like I'm talking to you guys individually to make them feel like I care and that I know something that can help them take the next steps, whether it's buying a business, moving abroad, whatever. That's the power of public speaking. You're the funnel. You don't need all these fancy click here, click there. Most of us, if we had 10 clients that all paid us $1,000 a month to provide a service, we would quit our jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's $10,000 a month for most of us. That is great. We're happy. We only got to worry about 10 people to maintain their website or help them with their marketing. That's it. That's your exit right there. Yeah. But public speaking allows you to get those 10 people. Is that fair? Going on podcasts like this may attract those 10 people.
Got it.
And so would it be safe to say that that your platform and I'm asking, I'm asking for the person that may be curious like me. So is it safe to say that your platform would help people connect with opportunities to basically present themselves and who they are and open the door for themselves as as a service or as a resource, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah. So the way I think about it is this: there are basically 4 ways to get a customer in any business, no matter what business you're in. You can plant seeds, which is just telling random people what you do, right? You can set traps and try to attract people to come watch your content and all of that stuff. You can go throw rocks at people, cold calling and cold emailing, right? Or you can go talk to ranchers, right? You can go talk to the people that already have an audience. And then say if I want to talk to accountants, I go talk to an accounting association that has all the accountants in it. And then those who are interested in my services just raise their hands. So our job at SpeakerHub is to provide you access to people that already have an audience, whether it's a podcaster with an audience like you guys or a conference, which is where I met Kurt at Gary Barnes's conference. He had already wrangled 120 entrepreneurs in a room. Yeah. So all I had to do was go in and talk to the horses and get a few of them to follow me, right? That's what we provide. We provide you 4 million contacts to podcast hosts, event planners, and media outlets that can let you talk to their audience that you selected that may be interested in your product or service.
So since we do know so many entrepreneurs and people who like to be on podcasts and whatnot, what do they do? How do they find you? How do they sign up? Like, give us the ABCs of getting on SpeakerHub.
So if they want a free profile on SpeakerHub, you can get this for free so that event planners can find you. You just go to speakerhub.com, click sign up, and it's going to offer you a speaker page, right? Now, here's number 2. If you're saying, well, I don't just want to sit and wait on someone to find me, I want to reach out to different podcasters and things of that sort. If you click on speaker leads, it'll ask you some questions and you'll set up an appointment with me. If you hop on that call and you say Mad Men, I'm like, how did you find us? And you tell me, oh, I heard you on the Mad Men podcast. I will give you 50% off of any of our products and services.
You heard that here first, folks.
Word.
I like it. So entrepreneurs, get on SpeakerHub. What else do we need to know about Ron Story Jr. before we let you go? We got like 2 minutes left and you got a wealth of knowledge. And I know there's got to be like 2 or 3 little bullet points, like nuggets of wisdom that you can drop for our audience.
Number 1, you're going to die. So do it anyway.
Dang.
Number 2, it ain't going to matter in 50 years what you did while you were alive anyway. So do it anyway. And number 3, you don't know when you're going to die. So do it faster or sooner than later. So if you're planning on traveling, starting a business, buying a business, hopping on stage, getting on podcasts, sharing a message that you've been holding in for 20 years, traveling to Bangkok, whatever you want to do it now because you're not promised tomorrow. And, you know, as someone who's had his life threatened, being drugged and robbed, I learned the sense of urgency in life, of taking advantage of things before our time expires. So do it anyway. It won't matter in 50 years, guys. So just go do it. Their opinions won't count.
Wow. Well, mic drop. There you go. Okay. Well, that was a good show. Thanks. Wow.
Yeah, it's dead. The mic is dead. Yep. Yeah, I feel like that scene in Coming to America. Randy Jackson. He just did his thing up on stage, man.
That boy good. That boy good.
Nah, I appreciate you, Ron, man. That's seriously, man, you a real deal, man. And thank you for everything you do just for speakers, for your family, for your employees, and just being a real guy, man. You know, just watching you over a weekend, talking to you one-on-one, now talking to you on here, you just a real dude, man. You are who you say you are, and I appreciate you that. I appreciate you from man to man, from brother to brother, man. I appreciate that.
Hey guys, well, I want to thank you for having me. You all are always welcome. Kurt, Jason, you know, if you ever come to Medellin, you got a place to stay. You got to get your own ticket here, but you got a place to stay. We got enough space for you to stay at our place. So
well, it sounds like
Jason might be on his way, man. Jason might be on his way down that way, man.
Yeah, we got space for you, man. So come on out. Right on. We just want to. I'm in the excuse removal business, so you got to live eventually, Jason. So come on out, man.
I love it. I like it. He's in the excuse removal business. So make sure you check out ronstoryjr.com. Check out SpeakerHub. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. That's the one. iHeartRadio. And until next time, we are the Mad Men. That's Ron Story Jr. And we are out.